If you go through the stories of Greek mythology, one big question arises: were the Olympians really heroes or cosmic tyrants? Imagine a heaven not of harmony and order, but of whispered fears, crushed rebellions, and divine oppression hidden beneath thunderbolts and golden thrones. Imagine Zeus, not as the wise father of gods, but as a ruler clutching power so tightly that even the smallest spark of dissent was enough to call down storms of vengeance. For every heroic tale sung by poets, there were others silenced. The silenced were the stories of mortals who dared to defy the sky, giants who rose in rage against injustice, and even gods who questioned whether Olympus was a beacon of justice or a fortress of tyranny. In this episode, we open the forbidden scrolls, the forgotten myths, and the lost testimonies of those who stood against Zeus. This is not the story of Olympus triumphant. This is the story of those resistors, rebels, visionaries, whose courage was buried under the weight of myth. This is the story about the gods who fell and the untold revolts against Olympus. Welcome to this exciting new episode of the channel, The Eternal Odyssey, where we explore the stories of myths and fantasies. Chapter 1, The Shadow Behind the Throne. When Zeus seized power from the Titans, he promised a new order, one built not on fear, but on justice. But the moment the thunderbolts settled, and the Titans were locked away in Tartarus, whispers began to spread across the world. The new king of heaven was not content with victory. He demanded obedience, loyalty, and absolute silence from all who lived beneath the sky. Mortals who defied divine commands found themselves cursed. Nymphs who refused Zeus's advances fled from the wrath that shook forests and mountains. Even gods on Olympus walked carefully, for Zeus's temper was legendary, and his paranoia grew with every new prophecy that hinted at a challenger to his throne. The early years of Olympus were a time of radiant triumph, but beneath that radiance lay fear. And fear is fertile soil for rebellion. The first uprisings were small. There were murmurs, subtle defiance, refusals to comply with decrees. But soon, mythic history was shaped by those brave enough to push back. Chapter 2, The Rebellion of the Hera Alliance. The first true revolt did not rise from monsters or mortals, but from Olympus itself. Hera, Poseidon, and Athena, all humiliated at one point or another by Zeus's unpredictable fury, conspired to trap him. They did not seek to kill him. Well, the gods could not kill gods, but they plot to restrain him long enough to establish a council, a shared rulership, an Olympus where tyranny would not reign unchecked. The plan nearly succeeded. Zeus was bound in chains forged by Hephaestus, chains only a god could craft. For a moment, the heavens held their breath as the king of gods was rendered powerless. But betrayal came, as it always does in the darkest moments of myth. Thetis and Briareus, one moved by fear, the other by loyalty, freed Zeus. And his response was merciless. The conspirators were punished. Hera hung from the sky in golden chains. Poseidon was exiled, and Athena, favored though she was forced into unwavering loyalty. Her rebellion buried under the armor of strategy and war. This rebellion, erased from most popular retellings, stands as the first evidence that Olympus was not a unified pantheon, but a battleground of divine wills. Chapter 3, The War of the Giants. Perhaps the most famous revolt came from the giants, who were massive beings born from Gaia after Zeus imprisoned her Titan children. Fueled by rage and a mother's grief, Gaia forged beings of immense strength, born from the blood of Uranus, and unleashed them upon Olympus. The Gigantomachy was not a battle of good versus evil, but of old power resisting new power. The giants were not mindless brutes. Many sought justice for their imprisoned kin. Porphyrion, their leader, demanded freedom for the Titans and an end to Zeus's autocratic rule. But Zeus's propaganda painted them as monsters, ensuring mortals and gods alike saw the giants as threats to cosmic order. The war shook the world, mountains uprooted, seas boiled, and the sky itself torn open. The Olympians would have lost had Zeus not involved Hercules, a demigod whose mortal blood allowed him to kill giants that the gods could only wound. When the war ended, the giants lay buried under islands and mountains, their rebellion transformed into cautionary tales. But in truth, the giants were the first to openly challenge Zeus's right to rule, and their defeat marked the moment Olympus cemented its dominance. Through sheer, overwhelming violence. Chapter 4, The Mortals Who Dared to Resist. Mortals, too, rose in defiance, not with armies or weapons, but with the audacity to act against divine decree. Prometheus, though a titan, sided with mortals and taught them fire and knowledge, directly opposing Zeus's desire to keep humanity ignorant and dependent. His rebellion was ideological, not violent, yet Zeus punished him with eternal torment, which bore a message to mortals that obedience was survival. Sisyphus defied Zeus by cheating death, exposing the god's vulnerabilities, and daring to challenge the natural order. His eternal punishment was not just retribution, it was propaganda, a warning etched into myth. Even entire cities dared to defy Olympus. The people of Aegina fought back against divine plague. The Lycians resisted when the gods attempted to seize their lands. These mortals were not foolish. They were desperate. For mortals living under divine tyranny, rebellion was often the only path to dignity, even if it led to destruction. These stories reveal a darker truth. Obedience to the gods was not devotion, but survival under an unpredictable cosmic regime. Chapter 5, The Fall of Asclepius. One of the most striking acts of rebellion came not from an enemy of Olympus, but from a healer. Asclepius, the son of Apollo, possessed the power to bring the dead back to life. He used this gift to save mortals who were unjustly taken, challenging the finality of death and, by extension, Zeus's dominion. Zeus saw this not as compassion, but as an insurrection. Life and death were divine territories. For a lesser god to control resurrection was a threat. So, Zeus struck Asclepius down with a thunderbolt. The world mourned, but Zeus remained unmoved. Even Apollo, Asclepius' father, could only retaliate by destroying the Cyclops who forged Zeus' lightning. This was an act of personal vengeance, not open rebellion. The death of Asclepius exposed the fragility of Olympus. One lesser god's compassion could destabilize the entire cosmic order, and Zeus would protect that order at any cost, even if it meant killing one of the most beloved figures in Greek myth. Chapter 6, The Great Revolt of the Underworld. But not all rebellions rose against Zeus. From the sky or earth, some festered in the shadows below. Hades, though often portrayed as a neutral ruler of the dead, quietly resisted Zeus's interference in the underworld. Some myths hint at a cryptic period when spirits refused to move into their afterlife, a spiritual logjam that reflected Hades' silent protest against Zeus's dominance. Persephone's abduction, though orchestrated by Hades, led to a clash with Demeter, a clash Zeus tried to mediate with manipulation rather than justice. Many scholars interpret this era as an underworld resistance against Olympus, rooted in the belief that Zeus exerted too much control over domains that were not his. While Hades never launched open war, the tension between the brothers created cracks in the Olympian foundation. In chthonic cults, Hades is revered not as an enemy of Zeus, but as a god who refused to bow entirely to his brother's tyranny, governing the dead with an authority Zeus could not overturn. Chapter 7, Apollo and Artemis against the king of gods. Even Zeus's own children were not immune to defiance. Apollo, god of reason and prophecy, challenged Zeus more than once. The slaying of the Cyclops was one instance, but there were deeper fractures. Apollo's oracles often delivered prophecies that undermined Zeus's authority, suggesting futures that Zeus did not approve of. Artemis, too, rebelled by fiercely protecting maidens and nymphs from Zeus's predatory behavior. Their quiet resistance through prophecy and protection was subtle but powerful. They did not wage war, but they weakened Zeus's absolute control, guiding mortals and lesser deities toward independence. Their actions remind us that rebellion is not always loud. Sometimes it flows through visions, dreams, and sacred groves where the sky's thunder could not reach. Chapter 8, The Last Stand of the Monsters. Monsters, too, rose against Zeus. Many of them were born from gods and punished into monstrous form. Typhon, the father of monsters, launched the most catastrophic revolt in mythic history. His war against Zeus nearly ended Olympus. Typhon was not evil. He was Gaia's final attempt to push back against the cosmic dictatorship that she felt Zeus had built on deceit and domination. The battle scorched continents, toppled mountains, and tore the sky apart. For the first time since the Gigantomachy, Zeus trembled, though he eventually won, imprisoning Typhon beneath Mount Etna. The scars of that rebellion became permanent features of the world, such as volcanoes, storms, and monstrous offspring wandering the edges of civilization. Even in defeat, Typhon's rebellion marked the greatest threat Zeus ever faced, a reminder that fear breeds strength, and strength breeds resistance. Chapter 9, The Silenced Goddesses. Not all revolts were battles. Some were refusals, quiet acts of divine protest. The goddesses like Hestia, Demeter, Persephone, even Aphrodite, played roles in resisting Zeus's control. Hestia rejected the politics of Olympus entirely, stepping away from the throne to maintain peace, a symbolic act of rejecting Zeus's hierarchy. Demeter's refusal to let the earth flourish during Persephone's absence was one of the most powerful acts of divine resistance ever recorded, forcing Zeus to negotiate rather than decree. Aphrodite, with her power over desire, manipulated events in ways that destabilized Zeus's plans, shifting alliances and kindling wars. Their rebellions were not battles, they were choices, decisions, refusals. And sometimes a refusal is louder than a roar. Chapter 10, The Legacy of Revolt. In the end, every rebellion, be it immortal, giant, or divine, tells one truth. Olympus was not the harmonious pantheon of popular myth, but kingdom carved out by force and maintained through fear. Zeus ruled with brilliance and brutality, ensuring that every challenge was crushed, every rival punished, every uprising painted as chaos rather than courage. But the stories of those who rebelled did not vanish. They survived in the shadows of temples, in whispered hymns, in the defiant spirits of mortals who prayed not for mercy, but for justice. The gods who fell are not failures. They are the forgotten heroes of a cosmic struggle between tyranny and freedom. And their stories remind us that even the mightiest can be questioned. Even the divine can be defied. If these forgotten revolts stirred your imagination and made you question what mythology never told you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, because countless untold myths still wait in the shadows, and together, we're bringing them back into the light. Thank you.